Hi, Chrissy. Thank you for showing up tonight. I really appreciate this. I hope your evening has been, and your day, let's put it that way, has been as great as mine. I am grateful for being here. I am grateful for, sorry, I have a tickle on my nose. I'm grateful for the event to be able to participate in the world and what's happening on the planet right now. I'm sure you are too. We're all glad to be here at this moment. Remember, we've all chosen this. So, Richard, hi, how are you? Christy and Richard, I love it. You guys are the first ones. I love this. So fabulous. But remember, we all chose to be here right now. So, we are all part of this great awakening that is taking place on the planet. So, thank you again to everybody. My name is Candia. I have been doing this for a very long time. I am new to this format, though, to be honest with you. It's a whole new world to be on YouTube. So I'm grateful to you that are here tonight, and I'm sure we will continue to grow in receivership. I can't even talk, receivership and viewership. But remember, we're all here right now to be a part of this great awakening and find out what's going on the planet. So here we go. Now, there have been lots of things that have happened over the past week since we talked. Lots of things globally, lots of things locally, I'm sure in your neck of the world as in mine, which is always fascinating to sit back and watch. I had a great question that was, in fact, I want to read this. Before I get into the topic at hand, I put out the word about different questions, so this goes to you as well if you have some questions. Such a great question. And this goes about what's happening on the world right now, because it's a tough one. Here's the question. It goes, what we focus on, we create, correct? Absolutely. How do we create the positive change in the world that we want to manifest when we are dialed into the politics and corruption that put us here? We can't just wear blinders if we want change, right? Great question. And it's so perfect because of the censorship that hit so hard this last week. So many accounts were taken down. I'm being monitored again, maybe on this one, but on meetup groups. Our meetup group, that is a virtual group, is being monitored. My messages aren't getting out. So it's a very interesting dynamic. So that's such a great question. How do we deal with this kind of, the negative influence? How do we deal with the external conflict that comes our way when we're trying to stay in the local state of grace and mindfulness and positivity when all this stuff is going on, when we need to know what's going on? And my invitation to you is this, is remember to always stay in your frequency of light. That is the most important thing. This is what will be transformational because, yes, we are doing this as a collective. However, at the same time, we are going through this great awakening on an individual level. With that in mind, we have to stay in our best alignment. So always start your day, end your day, and we talk about this every week, but stay in your alignment. When you're in that alignment, then you have the best opportunity to see the events in the world as the observer and not the participant. So you can observe what's going on, check it out, then in your mind even look at the events, even because you're in Portland, the person, this is Tracy who asked this question, is turn those events off in your mind so it's externalized. So again, the more that we stay in our alignment and we have the outside events stay beyond our scope, even though it influences us, it gives us the better opportunity to make really good decisions in our personal life. And that's the most important, is to stay in that alignment. That's where you start off. You have to, because otherwise you go crazy. I mean, I'm a junkie on all the information, and yet at the same time, it's so important to stay in this alignment of connection to our higher selves, to our oversoul, to angelic energies, to our higher dimensional beings. That's where we start, and that's why staying in alignment is your first and foremost thought in your mind as you wake up, as you go to sleep, when you go to the bathroom, everything. Always stay here, and then you can deal with all of the nonsense that's going on, because there's so much going on right now. It's absolutely overwhelmingly crazy. So that's where you start. So it's a great question, and it's a perfect question for just what's been going on over the past week. So with that in mind, last week, Richard, you were so great about talking about ETs and how, you know, how they influence or what's going on. And so I think it's a really fun topic to delve into for a point in time. So what do I feel about reptilians? How do I feel about other races? I feel like that we have been on. Yeah, it is so crazy. Yes, absolutely. I love the fact that you guys write to me too. I need to see if I can see more of those actually. Top chat, live chat, all messages. I wonder if that's going to make a difference. Let's hope this stays up there, which would be really great. So let's keep that on. Let's hope that works. Anyway, I wanted to top on. I can't really talk tonight. I've been talking all day, so sorry. Talk on these topics because I think they're very fascinating and they're very interesting because it deals with where we are on the planet right now and where we're going in the different timelines. However, before I get there, I have to start one more thing because I really have enjoyed pulling a card for the week and focusing on the positive energies that these spiritual insights can give us for the next week's focus point. So, again, one of my favorites are crystals, and this coincides to another question about what are the best crystals to wear with us to help with positivity and reduce fear. And I think this might be in some way the perfect card, the perfect crystal, and this is smoky quartz because this was a great question before the online tonight. Smoky quartz. I hope you can see the picture. I'm sure it doesn't always look like that. However, I gotta pull this up because this is so cool because it coincides with Tracy's question about how do we deal with this. Think about this. This is great. Smoky quartz is really great for emotional blockage. Smoky quartz is great for negative thoughts. It's great for release, grounding, and protection. How perfect is that for what we're dealing with right now? Exactly. It's a great one, isn't it, Chrissy? Emotional blockage, negative thoughts, release, grounding, and protection. What's very important to remember with all of, again, the nonsense is to stay grounded to the planet. Our bodies are minerals, our bodies are water. So therefore, we are very much connected to Gaia, and with that in mind, we need to stay grounded. So that means getting out into the earth, getting our feet literally wet from the grass and touching green leaves and branches and all of that, getting connected to the earth. So that's why the grounding is so important, and smoky quartz can help with that. But let's read what it has to say. This beautiful smoky quartz crystal has appeared in your reading today to help you to release. Hearing you about grounding, yes, perfect. In your reading to help you to release and express the many emotions that you have kept suppressed for quite some time. I'm sure all of us have suppressed emotions going on right now because of all the stuff that's going on, right? It's craziness. So there is an emotional cause to all physical symptoms, so know that by acknowledging and expressing how you feel, you allow healing to occur. Do not feel afraid to cry, for your tears will wash away your sadness and restore your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. There is a jewel here to be found in every teardrop. Trust. Okay, this is really important. I don't know. I know we only have just a few of us here tonight live, but think about, I don't know about you, but I have been so close to tears. I watch something, it's easy to cry. An old memory will surface, it's easy to cry because there are so many emotions that are filtering through all of us right now globally, from New Zealand to Canada to wherever. And knowing that if you can stay grounded and let those and allow those tears and those emotions to well up so they can flush out, so you can release the old shame, the old blame, the old guilt, the old traumas. That's what we're dealing with right now, whereas we're allowing those to come out. And right now, the smoky quartz, it'd be one of those things that can really help you with that. So what can you do? You can imagine smoky quartz in your hand and hold on to it, bringing that energy to you. You can actually go out and get a smoky quartz. And what I like about this is it talks about protection. So it actually, the question came in and then I pulled this card. It was like perfect. So, and the person who asked it was Cassia, and she was talking about wearing that, and so it's a perfect thing. And I'm knowing her, she probably has a smoky quartz, but it's perfect for protection. I would use this for children too, put it in their pockets, because the negativity in schools, the negativity with other children, the fear of other parents. So something to add to the crystal arsenal, right? So again, smoky quartz is a great thing to add. So when I pulled this today, I'm going, oh, perfect. I love this. Cards always show up at the right time with the right meaning. Now, before we get into our other stuff, I have to share this because it's really fun. Is I pulled the runes. I think runes are incredibly insightful. Runes have been around for probably thousands of years, not just hundreds of years, thousands of years, coming out of the north. Now, what's really fun about the rune stones is that they have correlations to the Norse people and the Nordic. Okay, that makes we're going, okay, Candia, that's no big deal. However, bigger picture, because this goes into our topic, is ETs, is there is a whole line of Nordic ETs that have influenced this planet. So they're mythical gods. How many of them are actually mythical? How many of their gods are actually real beings from other dimensional planes as well as planets, and that the Nordic people are very real. So I feel that there is some magical truth that comes through the rune stones. So tonight's rune stone, I have two books actually, and one is just the basic runes, and the other one is the Book of Healing. And the stone that I pulled is the Warrior, and it also in the healing is all about courage. So how perfect is that right now when we need more healing, more courage, and warrior strength? And the warrior strength is not about taking action against others or war. It's about being the peaceful warrior and drawing the line in the sand as to what to do and what not to do and where your boundaries are. So holding that sense of courage with the warrior within yourself. And trust me, I know this one quite well. Oh, good. I love synchronicity, Richard. Is that I am a true warrior. I mean, I came into this life with that frequency of the warrior. And with that said, it's not always easy to not want to go out and join the fight, when in reality, that's the last thing you need to do, is to hold the strength instead of courage, at the same time drawing the line of demarcation, saying, no, we're not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. This is too important to me, and not capitulate. So I love that this is the actual rune that it looks like. So courage and the warrior is something, that energy to hold onto for the next week. In fact, there was something in this that I thought was good. Okay, let's see. Is the battle of the spiritual warriors with the self. Funding a will through action, yet unattached to outcomes, remaining mindful of all you can really do is stay out of your own way and let the will of heaven flow through you. These are among the hallmarks of the spiritual warrior. Embodied in this rune is the energy of discrimination. Isn't that the best word for what's going on right now? We need to have discrimination and discernment for what is coming our direction. Do we believe in what's coming? Do we listen to the bombardment that comes our way? We have to have discernment and discrimination to decide what really works for us, because everybody has a different truth. And the most important thing, exactly, the most important thing is for us to stay within our own discernment and discrimination of what works for us, because your life is and experiences are different than mine. So the more tuned in you are to your own truths, that alignment within yourself, the more your path will line up. So I love this. Let the will of the universe, the cosmos, the heavens guide you on your path. At the same time, you are discriminating as to what is important for you. Again, everybody has their own truth. Let's see where I was. Okay, embodying the wisdom to cut through the old, the dead, the extraneous. That's so perfect. We can cut through the stuff from the past that no longer resonates with us, which is very important. And yet with the warrior rune comes certain knowledge that the universe always has the first move. Patience is the virtue of this rune, and it recalls the words of St. Augustine, the reward of patience is patience. The best part about that is that right now with COVID, message retracted? Oh, I wonder what that means. With COVID, we have to have incredible patience. I mean, it's ridiculous, actually. It's nonsense in my, and I get the warrior in me comes out. And yet, the most important thing we can have is patience and trust that the universe has our back, the universe has our side, the cosmos is in our favor, and we are creating the best and brightest timeline for our future. So with that, discrimination, use the protection, stay out of the nonsense, have patience, something I'm learning always. And I don't know about you, but patience has been one of those things that I've been constantly reminded of over the course of my life. When we do this and we all hold hands and we join with each other, we have the opportunity to help change this planet, which is really a fantastic thing. So with that, I had to do those cards because it was really fun to draw the runes. I haven't pulled those out in ages, ages and ages, and so it was really fun to pull them out and say, "Ooh, what kind of energy can we learn from tonight?" Just align in with the spiritual energies. Now we're going to go a little bit further out. Richard last week said let's talk about, and I started to do this earlier, about the ETs and the background and on. I got to turn this off. Sorry, guys. I got to turn my little ringer off on my phone. Is to look at life, look at our histories, look at our religions, look at our political world, our socioeconomic worlds from a different perspective. And what if what we've been told that is a collective theory isn't always true and doesn't have all the story there, and we have a lot that's missing? I believe that's very true. And I follow the threads that resonate for me. Now, this doesn't mean you have to believe what I'm saying at all. This is just about discovering what I have felt to be true. And my feeling is that we have been on this planet for 2 billion years. The planet is over 4 billion years old. And I believe that there have been beings on this planet. And I'm not just talking amoebas, but I believe that there have been energy beings on this planet for at least 2 billion years. That's a long time. And that we have had this succession of different energy fields of beings that have populated this planet. That resonates for me too. And I've read from various sources that the reptilians, amazing like it's just true. I mean, so when they say we're only 2,000 years, the biblical sense, no. Or even we only go back 12,000 years, no, we go so much further back. That we right now, because the reason I bring this up is it so relates to where we are, so we go through the eye of the needle in terms of this great awakening. And I believe that we have had reptilians on this planet think about it, we had the dinosaurs, but I also feel that we have had humanoid reptilians be a part of this Earth community for a very long time. I really do believe that they were the first seeded biological upright creatures were the reptilians. If you go back into ancient histories and you study any of those and you look at the petroglyphs, which are the etched in versus the petroglyphs, and why did I just draw blank petroglyphs and the other? Anyway, where they've been etched in, you see that a lot of the ancient beings had reptilian bodies and that they were revered as the gods. So I feel that we've had reptilians on this planet. There's also all this buried architectural archaeology that has been buried about the giants. I believe that, essentially they're the next group of beings that were here with the giants. There is a guy out of South Africa named, now I'm going blank tonight. You'd think again, too much talk. It'll come to me. Michael, I've met him several times. He's great. It'll come to me. It'll come. Because I'm going segue. I wasn't planning on this. But he did all this research out of South Africa. And he has all these pictures of these giants that are unbelievable. One head is as big as a person, yet alone the rest of the bones. And a lot of these beings have been buried. A lot of this information has been buried. It's been in the Smithsonian, and they've buried it. They've shoved it away so that we don't know our true history and our background. And there are a lot of people out there that speak to these ancient archaeology and ancient concepts and ancient civilizations, and it's pretty fascinating. And again, not everybody's interested in it, and not everybody believes in it. That's okay. However, the archaeological evidence is coming through. Now, a lot of that, of course, has been buried through cataclysmic events, from flooding to ice caps, even from the ice caps melting, to just think about all the earth upheavals that have shifted and buried so much of our ancient past. So why am I having such an issue with him? Because he's, oh, Michael Tellinger. There it is. There's the name, Michael Tellinger. He's the guy out of South Africa. And I don't think he actually studied archaeology when he was young. However, it's made it his passion, so he's written several books on it. Michael Tellinger also has been, which I love how all my favorite people have linked up. I've met Michael several times, but he's linked up with Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward, of course, is out of the UK but lives in Spain now, and he has had Michael on his show. So these people of like-mindedness have connected, which is fantastic. So if you're not familiar with Michael Tellinger, I highly, suggest that you look him up, just because he's done some really great work. But he's got, again, a fabulous photograph of one of the giants that have definitely been a part of our history. Now, of course, in the Bible, they do talk about the giants, and there have been in other ancient texts, exactly, Michael, is worth checking out. Thanks, Tracy. That there have been giants listed in different spiritual texts that all agree that there have been giants on the planet, which is pretty flipping amazing. I mean, think about it. We put giants in our our stories, in our myths. We put stories in our movies. We put stories in our the, the the giants in our dreams show up. So it's all part of our memory patterns from somewhere, somehow. These aren't just made up beings. It's like dragons. Dragons are real. So again, dragons are what? Reptilian energy. Yes, so we have that on the planet. I also feel that when we talk about, when you start going into other planets, a lot of times we go into the Pleiadians, we talk about the Arcturians, the Orions, those are the big guys, the Anunnaki. I've got these written out so I don't forget any of them. And I believe that the Pleiadians are obviously from the Pleiades out of the constellation of Taurus, and that they were and are very much still integrated into our consciousness here, because whatever we do in the third dimension moving into the fourth dimension impacts where they are. I remember the TV show Land of the Giants can relate. Exactly. It's very good. I love that. So think about how everything again is connected, because we've been given dissemination of information for decades of the bigger and higher truths, which is exciting. But the Pleiadians have been involved with us for a very long time, because again, from the time is nebulous. Okay, we have created the concept of time. So the future and the past impacts the future, or excuse me, impacts the present. Like I said, my brain's on something weird today, and because of this, I believe I have been here many times, and I've so much I'm starting to remember little bits and pieces. Chrissy, that's fantastic, because that's what this is about. Again, the more you start reading about the bigger picture of the historical timelines and the multiple timelines that we have, the more you can then access this within yourself, which is really great, because that's what this is all about. It all comes back to us, how it impacts who we are, where we are, and what timelines we have been living in, which ones we have experienced, and where we are going. So the Pleiadians have been this highly evolved light frequency of beings that have influenced us, have helped us grow and helped us expand, so that they too can learn from us as we learn from them, because everything is so interconnected. I sit back in awe every day. And I'll explain to you why I'm bringing all of these up. Then we have the Arcturians, and they were more, and are, I don't like to put it all in the past, have been more involved with our structural realignment, because we are in so many ways created like them, because they look like us. And that's why on many, many planets out there, we all have, we look like we do, because these, I want to call them beings, these extraterrestrials, these amazing races of beings have helped influence us. And not only us, Earth is just one little planet among billions out there. So they have helped with the creation of the body, the creation of the melding of the minerals with the water, with the cellular energy to help create who we are. Then you have the Orions. Orions are a little more, I would say, and think about it. Orion, just think about the constellation itself. Is looked, he's a warrior. That's his warrior belt. So the Orions have a little more warrior activity going on in them. That's okay because we've needed to learn some of that. And then we have the Anunnaki. They're talking about the return of the Anunnaki because they come in so so many thousands of years between. And then so many people channeled the she. Yes. So think about this. The Anunnaki have come and they have also helped shape and form our beingness. Okay. So we have all these different races that have come here, these other extra beings that have come here to help create who we are. And then we have what is known as the Adamite, where Adam and Eve to create these this temple, if you will, this Arcturians, yes, the the perfect structure so that we can grow and expand. So take this one step further. Imagine this, that we have the different DNA within our bloodlines, right? And we have the A and we have the O and they have the B and we have the AB blood, right? But we also have lots of other blood types and other DNA. And my feeling, my belief, again, you don't have to believe any of this, is that we all have, all of us, because we are here on the planet at this time, have all of these bloodlines in us. The reptilians, the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Anunnakis, the Orions, and that also goes into Lemuria, which is really Mu, and the Atlanteans, so we've experienced that. So we have all of these back past histories that have impacted who we are, and all of that is within ourselves, right? All of that is within the hair, the eyes, the blue, the brown, the skin color, the how we do things in this life have all been impacted, have been influenced by our long roots within this. I mean, think about it, your bloodlines. If you do the family tree, it goes back and goes back and goes back. And they do have this information, they do have this technology to find out what our bloodlines are and how and where in our bloodlines are the different ET races. They have that technology. They don't put it out there, but it is there, just so you know. So just imagine if you start looking at your life through a new lens, because that's what this is about. This is about experience. It's about your discrimination, your discernment, your intuition, your connection to heart, your tapping into the best within yourself, right? All of that. And you are influenced not only from your family right here and now, but through thousands, if not millions of years of DNA encodement from the other planetary beings that have been here. Exactly. All of this, thank you, Richard, for that. He just said puts perspective on why we're here right now. Absolutely. And it has impacted why we are here, what we are doing here, what is most important in our lives right now. And so when you recognize this, if we were to everyone all these people pissing and moaning and groaning and fighting and maiming and killing and raping and all of these things, if they were to recognize that we all have every bloodline within us, we've experienced every color on the planet, we've experienced every possible event, right? Then we wouldn't be pointing fingers. We wouldn't be having to do these crazy things to control. So I really invite all of you, when you go to bed, when you wake up, is to kind of look at your life through a new lens, saying, oh my golly, I have all these bloodlines in me, and what does that mean? How does that influence me? Well, then I can't blame and shame, because right now we have what is known as this global elite that is influencing our lives. And for those who've really studied this has a lot of reptilian energy, which is more, if you think about it, we have the reptilian brain, right, within us, which is all about fear-based. It's the fight or flight within us. And so the deep state, the dark cabal, the Illuminati, however you want to put them, have what I feel to be a bit more reptilian blood in them. You've heard probably of shapeshifters. Well, shapeshifters are real in my book, and the reptilians are out there, and they are trying to control and manipulate where things are. Okay, that's great. That being said, imagine this. So if we have reptilian blood, because we too have been part of this planet forever, we too have probably lived where a lifetime experience where we've had more reptilian blood, or we've had more Pleiadian blood, or Arcturian, or Atlantean, or whatever. All of these different experiences have led us to this body, this lifetime right now. Then, when we know that we are all part of this, we are all them, they are all us, then there's no reason to blame or shame them. And we then come to our own awakening and move out of fear, send them love, even in their darkest moments, because there are so many things that are happening on the planet that are so incredibly dark and foul and evil and unbelievable. And yet, I can't point fingers because I can't say that at some time in the timeline somewhere, someplace, I didn't do horrible things, or that you guys didn't do horrible things. You know, there are no accidents. We are here to help shift this and flip this on its ear. Now, again, what I talked about earlier is that this is a collective shift, but it's also most importantly individual reconciliation with ourselves, uh, individual healing of, again, I'm going to concentrate on the shame, the blame, the guilt, and all of those deep wounds within ourselves, to let that go, so that we can recognize that all those bad players out there are just a reflection of us. When we do that, we forgive them. They are us, we are them. Even though I can still shake my head with all of the things that came out over the last week on Benghazi. I know, Richard, you're in New Zealand. Benghazi was happened under the Obama administration, when 26 Navy SEALs were killed. You know, we let them be killed. Well, I think we happened to do that. And the top leaders in this country were the ones involved. They were the ones that, and it's all going to come out because the evidence is all there. They may be withholding it, but trust me, it's there. It's going to come out, and that's what this is all about. Oh, you do remember? Yes. You know, it's crazy. And then all the information this past week on Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, and his computer that's coming out. Again, it's a revealing of all these dark secrets. Again, if we understand that they are us and we are them, and we've maybe have been in their shoes, and everybody's indignant going, I've never done that. Well, I am not going to say ever, never, because who's to say how many lifetimes I have and how many times I haven't preyed on somebody else. I mean, go back into your grade school days. If you think about that, and some girl you didn't like, or some boy you didn't like, I mean, think about it. I mean, we've all in our own way have done things that were not totally redeeming. So when we look at all the things that are being revealed right now, it gives us the opportunity to say, okay, what else do we need to do within ourselves? And they are not exposing them. Yeah, no, they're not. However, there are other news outlets that are, and you know what? The horrific thing about the Hunter Biden thing is the fact that even the FBI has held it. Don't we love that? Don't we love that? So, but again, the most important thing is that everybody individually then works on themselves to send all of them love and a state of grace, really, so that they can open up to what they have. They're going to have to pay for their story because of what they've done. They'll get to reflect that back in their own lives. Nothing is free, and I don't mean that in any kind of a threat. Karma is karma, and yet at the same time, I don't want to be pointing fingers. So, do I like what they're doing? Do I like this global control? No, I get cranky. I get cranky about the masks, primarily because you want to be able to breathe. That's our God-given right. Our God truly is our God-given right to breathe. So when we understand that we have all of this, that's why everything is so connected, that when we look at our bloodlines that go back literally billions of years, and that we have bloodlines from all of these different races, these other ETs, extraterrestrial beings of higher dimensional frequencies and lower dimensional frequencies that have hung here, that we are all part of this, because we've all interbred, we've all intermarried, all of these things that have brought us to where we are today. Now, on that, we're going to go down a slide onto a side for just a minute. I would invite all of you, just take a moment and Google, or GoDaddy, or whatever they are, a search engine, and look up elongated skulls. Elongated skulls are very interesting because they've been proven not to have human DNA in them. They've been proven to have ET blood in them, and they are all over the planet. And if you think back as a kid, do you remember reading and learning about in school where there were different tribes that would take the children's heads and squish them so that they would become elongated in the back? Well, my feeling is because they were emulating what they knew at the time to be their gods. The gods, of course, in my opinion, my belief is that they are beings from other planets that came here to help us grow and learn, and some were controlling. I mean, not all of them were fantastic. I'm not going to put them in that category. However, those with the elongated skulls ended up being the rulers, thus become the bloodlines of today's rulers. If you go back and look at Egypt, I can remember I was fascinated by this ages ago. I remember first reading about Peru, the Incas, the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Egyptians back in fifth grade, and I was taken then. I mean, I can still tell you where I sat. It's a long story, short story. And from there, I have just continued to read and learn. And if we understand that through history, again, back into the iconography of the art displayed by these different cultures, they all had these elongated skulls. And I was listening to a gal, Maria Whitley, I think that's her name. She is British, and she was doing some archaeology work in Maria Whitley in the UK, and found in the old boroughs in England even had the leaders of those particular tribal boroughs had elongated skulls. So these individuals have come down through the millennia, not just centuries, with the elongated skulls. The rumor has it that different popes who always wear the mitres on their, that's miters, the hats, are to cover up their elongated skulls. There are paintings also in Lemuria, when Australia and New Zealand were combined. I love it. I was in Lemuria in Australia. We're going to go there. We're going to go there. I want to hold on to that. That's really good. Is that even the European leaders in the old paintings still had the elongated skulls. I remember when I first was taking art history in college, they didn't have ancient archaeology, so I segued into art history, the closest thing I could get, and reading about the ancient Egyptians and seeing the iconography of the elongated skulls. And then I'll never forget, my professor at the time said, well, we figure it's probably some DNA problem and they have some sickness or illness, and their bodies were strange and weird. Well, okay, that's great. I appreciate where her perspective was at that decade, in that time frame, and her education prior to that. Bigger picture, though, it's because they were part of the old culture, coming from the ETs that helped seed this planet. So then, through the centuries, of course, then our royal leaders have had the elongated skulls, and that's why there is this power group elite on the planet now that thinks they are above us because they come from these ETs. But the truth is, this is the best part. Well, maybe we don't have the elongated skulls, and maybe we don't have the intelligence, the high intelligence. Imagine if our brain were that much bigger, how much more intelligent we would be. I mean, unbelievable, the brain capacity. So you can appreciate why they were revered as gods. Bigger picture, though, even though we don't have elongated skulls, we are still the gods. We are still the beings created from all these different bloodlines to be who we are today. Now, again, you don't have to believe any of this. I feel this to be true. It is huge, Richard, and I totally agree. This is my belief. And when you tap into that, again, it helps you deal with blame, shame, and guilt and traumas, and go, okay, we're going to release that. So you're not pointing fingers. You can send these different people that are trying to control the planet love, saying, okay, we get you. Maybe I was in that place at some point in time, right? So it's just a fascinating thing. When we look at it this way, it totally changes the perspective of what we are going through right now. And again, we are at the end of an age. These ages happen. We've talked about this before. They are in 24 to 26,000 year cycles, and we are at the end of one of those. And so it's very tumultuous, it's very chaotic, it's very crazy. Now, there's two thoughts here, and then I'm going to go to Richard. One is, all these people that are doing the riots that are going upside down right now, they are dealing and clearing out old traumas and guilt and shame and blame within themselves. And they're acting out. Now, do I agree with it? No. However, maybe in their karmic cycles, they're clearing things out. Uh, Again, there will always be a karmic load that comes from that. Anytime that we respond in a negative way, there will be ramifications. And yet, in another way, I'm sure that they are learning in ways, because I've been doing some thought process on this why. And instead of going into judgment on them, I've tried to look at them from a new perspective. Again, if we're all connected, we've all had timelines and multiple lifetimes right here in this planet that they are clearing things out. As we, those of us who are here are then sitting back going, okay, where do we fit into this story? And if you recognize your own personal world, if it's pretty calm, even though it's, you know, sans the silly masks, is that then you realize that you've been working through a lot of your own pains, your traumas, your blames, your guilts, all that stuff. So use this as this great metaphor, this experiential moment in the cosmic timeline to see where you are and where you're going and what it is that you are clearing so that you can go on to be your best and your brightest. Because we as individuals, as well as a collective, are creating the best timelines for ourselves, because there are multiple timelines being played out all the time, individually and collectively. Now, back to Richard's comment about that he was in Lemuria. What's very interesting about Lemuria and Atlantis. Okay, Atlantis obviously was in the Atlantean. Thank you, Rich. I so appreciate the feedback. Thank you for that. Is, as we know, and of course I'm backwards to you, but this is the Atlantic on my side because that's my east side, and the Mu people were in the Pacific. Their timelines were very close in alignment with one another. And for those who don't know about the stories, more people have heard about Atlantis than the Mu people. The Lemuria word, I just learned this the other day, it made so much sense to me. Lemuria came into our vernacular as the name for that group of souls because of the monkeys, the lemurs, rather than the Mu people. And the monkeys, the Lemuria, lemurs, there we go, sorry, the lemur monkeys that were, they inhabited different areas in different countries that kind of related to the Mu people. And so because of it, through, I think it's a newer word for Mu, that then Lemuria became intertwined with it, when in reality, that's really not the truth. I thought, wow, that's fascinating, makes sense to me, because I can remember when I first heard about Mu back in the 70s. Yes, I am dating myself. I first heard about Mu, that it resonated with me, and it's all, again, part of the Pacific culture. So there was a continent and energy of people that lived in the Pacific, the Mu culture, that again influenced parts of the western United States, more importantly South America, and then different islands. Hawaii's remnants, the mountains, the tips of Hawaii are the remnants of Lemuria, Mu, and then it goes into Australia, New Zealand, and parts of Asia, and up into Alaska and Russia. So that was part of the Mu culture. And then the Atlanteans. Now the energy fields were completely different. The Mu people were very connected to nature, to the interconnection with the planet, with the ocean, with water, with sea life, and very gentle, caring souls. What the challenge was with Lemurians, oh, I did it again, the Mu people, is the fact that because they resisted any kind of altercations, any kind of frustration, or any kind of war. They kind of shut down, and life kept pushing them to make choices until they finally imploded, because they couldn't make decisions. They couldn't decide. They were too gentle. And guess what? When something doesn't work, the universe creates another avenue for that to happen. Yes, absolutely. Technology in Atlantis was an outward expression of their spirituality, whereas in Mu, Their spirituality was from the inside in connection to nature. And there are those of us, myself included, because I know I've had lives on both continents, I'm very connected to nature and very connected to animals. I just did a wonderful reading this morning with a gal in Norway about a little lost kitten, and this feeling the animals in the forest where this animal was, and just that knowingness that we have to shift and change how we do natural our our connection to nature, let's put it that way. And then the Atlantean culture, they use their spiritual connections through their architecture. They created these outward beings and expressions of their spiritual connections. Think about the pyramids. Think about even how it filtered down through the Greeks and the Romans. I mean, look at the Greek architecture; it's fantastic. Again, that mathematical engineering came down from the Atlanteans through the Egyptians down into the Romans. Into the Greeks, into the Romans, and taught them how to create outward expressions of our spirituality. Some of the most beautiful buildings, in my estimation, I have this romantic ideal, I know it's because I've worked on them, are the Gothic cathedrals that really started in the 1100s, and then they hit their height in about the 1400s. And again, an exterior expression carried down from the Atlanteans down. So they turned their connection to spirit into outward expressions of architecture. They also then advanced their technology, and they went down for another reason. Again, it was the end of an age. They went down, the last of it was between 12,000 and 1150 BC. My personal experience was 1150, basically 1150, 11,500, because I've got a full lifetime memory of the last of it. And again, 12,000 years ago from now was that time frame. Again, these grand cycles. And so when Atlantis went down, so much of it was because of misappropriation of their technology. Now, here's something that's really, really fascinating. In 12,000 years ago, okay, if we look at an astrological chart, that was Leo. We are moving into Aquarius. They are opposites. So that's why Atlantis is so in alignment with America, because America is the pivotal country on the planet right now, like Atlantis was. I know there are a lot that believe that Atlantis covered the whole planet, and probably in some ways it did. I don't think it was just in the Atlantic Ocean, but that's why timelines are important, because they merge, and the people and the players that were then are now. I hope I'm making sense with all of this, because technology, once again, has taken us to that place of, are we going to blow ourselves up? Are we going to detonate another world war? You know, all of these crazy things that did happen to Atlantis. Now, my feeling and sense is what happened for those in Mu who were so gentle, yes, you are one, thank you, that then they ended up migrating as soul expressions into the Atlantean world so they could learn how to learn how to express their spirituality in outward ways. They had to learn how to make choices and decisions and to be firm with who they are and who they were at that time. Because again, what are we here for? Why are we created? Is to learn every experience and expression of the cosmos, every experience that we can play within, so that we become more of who we are, a great expression of the cosmic force. So knowing and understanding that we have these ancient cultures that have been a part of us. So if you were in Mu, you're more than likely in Atlantis, and vice versa. That those are part of our DNA, and that's influences who we are today, if that makes sense. So if you know that, then again, it gives you that opportunity to step back, stay in your light, and say, okay, what is it that I need to learn right now? What can I do to be the best? Along those lines, knowing this then gives you the opportunity to take it to a place where you step out of your fear. When you step out of your fear and you embrace your courage back to the warrior, I love this, how this is all, with some of my abilities in a lot of times won't do this and that time. Exactly. I know that feeling. Been there, done that one, Richard. That's a great thing. The warrior right now is what this is about, because right now we need to be as courageous as possible. And when we are as courageous as possible, then we step out of our fear, because what happens is we drain our personal energy fields so much. Imagine if we had a siphon, and somebody's got a hose and go, let me take that from you. When we buy into the fear, it gives somebody else who doesn't have a lot the opportunity to download our energy fields into theirs. And then we become more and more fearful, and then our energy fields drop, and then our ability to grow consciously diminishes and diminishes and diminishes. That's why staying in your light bubble is so important. When you're in your light, your energy fields expand, and then you realize that you are your own computer. You are your own fuel source. You are your own connected line straight to the cosmic energy field. When you know that, then nothing can penetrate your fields. No virus can penetrate your field unless there's some karmic debt that needs to be uh, balanced out. Nobody can take from you. Nobody can murder you. Nobody can harm you, because you're in alignment with your best within yourself. When you know this, when you step into, I love this, the warrior courage energy, when you do that, then we collectively have the ability to change the direction of not only our personal timelines, but the overall timelines. So when we do that, how cool is this? We can change the planet. We can change ourselves. So that's why when you listen to the news and you stop yourself from doing what you came here to do, then our fear takes over. Our fuel, our literal, our emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual fuel diminishes. Somebody else can take it, and then we have to build ourselves back up again. So that's why knowing as much as possible is your avenue for the most positive change that you can do. On that line, kind of segueing just a little bit, there, I'm sure you have read this, but those people that are just before they die, everybody asks them a question, what would you do differently in your life? Go, we're encouraged, exactly. I'm so glad. Is they always say, I wish I would have done more. I wish I wouldn't have lived in fear. I wish I would have embraced my life. I wish, I wish, I wish. So none of us in this right now are ready to check off the planet. So knowing that, step into your warrior self, step into your courage, step into that strong connection from your heart and to your mind. What this time frame that we're going into is such a blend of positive things. It's with the heart and the intellect combined with spirituality. This is so cool. Spirituality, I'm getting this right now, spirituality and science. So they are the mirrors of each other of where we are moving into, because they are not separate. Science and spirituality are not separate. What spiritual people have been saying for a long time, science is now validating. When we utilize our intellect and we combine it with our heart, then this connection lines us up to this great download of making really good choices and staying on our best possible path. When that happens, you emanate this beautiful light. That beautiful light shines on others. They pick up on it. The next person picks up on it, and we change this planet one person at a time. Not by doing anything other than being our best selves. We don't have to go out and fight. We don't have to go out and stump the cause, even though there are times when I do. Okay, those who know me know I do this. And yet, at the same time, the more we stay in this alignment, this is when we just grow. I just feel this, and I love the combination of what I just got was the heart and the head mirrors science and spirituality, and that creates the foundation, literally the four corners of our architectural blueprint of where we're going. In fact, I need to write that down so I don't forget the blueprint. I want to remind myself. Might have to write about that, because that's just so perfect. And what's great is that I know I'm not just talking to a screen, and that I actually have people here, and you are my mirrors. All 6 of you are my mirrors, and with that, the downloads start to happen, because I get my information from your higher selves through the cosmic source. So I thank all of you, because you have been my muse. You are my muse. You are helping and put me into this great cosmic alignment of space and allow the threads to come through and put everything together, which is really exciting. Now, I just want to see if there's anything else. Exactly. Oh, about religion. I wanted to, because this is all about everything too. Religion is a very interesting concept because it's been put into our stories, again, through the timelines. And not all of us have experienced those timelines, meaning that some may have more alignment with Buddhists, the whole Buddhist or the Hindu tradition. Oh, thank you, Richard. You're so wonderful. Uh, and there are those who are more aligned with Christianity. It doesn't mean that you don't have threads to them in different lifetimes. For example, there have been those who lived when Jesus was on the planet. I'm not feeling that I did so, but I've had different lifetimes when I was in the church. So I don't have that wanderlust in regards to that, or for those about Buddha or Krishna or whatever, right? The stories, though, have been changed. They've been muted, they have been censored, they have been twisted. And the most important part with all of that, because again, that comes down through the timelines, through the history, through the bloodlines, all of that is to trust your inner instincts and recognize that so much of it are just stories. If we lived on Alpha Centauri, they'd be completely different stories. So when you understand that, or we lived on Sirius or whatever, that then it allows you to be more in alignment with your own sense of connection to source, right? That connection. So that's important. I think religion, you have to do what's right for you. If you're a religious person, fantastic. If you're aligned more with the exactly, religion to me is about controlling the masses, and I also feel there's so much corruption within the the Catholic Church, within the um, Mormon Church, within the Jesuits. I mean, there's a lot of corruption, and it's been misused for a very, very long time. It's a very distorted energy, just like sex on the planet. It's very distorted energy. So when we are in alignment with ourselves and we let go of those past traumas, then we can help others heal. A lot when I worked in the nursing home, in people's hands, why they drift off and mess up. Everything is okay till we meet again. Exactly, Chrissy. That's a beautiful story. And thank you for sharing that because that's really true. We're all connected. And the reason we have death, think about it. If we live forever, a lot of people want to say, I want to live forever in this body, we would stop learning because you would no longer be Chrissy. You would no longer be Richard. And you would get to be, Francis, or you could learn, you could be Erica, or you could be Danica, or you could be Henry. You can be, and all these are different experiences. And that's why we have all these different bloodlines influencing us so that we can have the most, as many expressions of ourselves as possible. Imagine this. This is your image for the remainder of this evening. Imagine that all of us and everybody else out there, you can have 20 of your favorite people or people that you don't know, and we are all sitting around this beautiful round table, and there's this magnificent flower arrangement in the middle. And you on one end get to see that, oh my God, the freesia are so incredible and they smell so great. The person next to you sees nothing but daisies, and the next person sees poppies and a few uh, tulips in there, and the next person sees, keep going, gladiolas and irises all the way around. And yet, so everybody stands up. What did you see? And they say, well, I saw roses. Well, I saw irises. Well, I saw, and everybody's truth is correct. They're just not correct for everybody. And so when we recognize that truth is subjective to the individual, then it gives us the opportunity to realize that we are here for as many experiences as possible. And when we recognize that everybody has their own truth, we can send them love. And then we, again, get to shift the planet. Life would be boring, and that's why we have shorter lives in this particular juncture, so that death was created so that we can have a broader sense of experiences. Do I believe we have the opportunity to live longer in our bodies? Yes, absolutely. And I know there were times when, think about it, even in the Bible they talk about Methuselah lived 900 years. Well, then he's like, okay, it's time for him to learn more. So again, the more we have the opportunity to learn as much as we can from this experience and open up to the greater picture that we've been all part of these different beings, and that's why, yeah, living longer would be good. Think about it. We have throwbacks with different people that are 7 feet tall, sometimes 9 feet tall. Those are throwbacks to our genes, because again, we all have that in our bloodlines. Excuse me, I have a quick drink. So I want you to think about all that. I also want to send you out with remember to stay in your light. Always stay in your light. Use that as a boundary of light. I listened to some, I wish I could remember names. I listened to this guy the other night, and he was talking about teaching people how to be in a circle. I go, God, I've been talking about that for decades, 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 because the more we stand in our light of consciousness, then we are our best and we shine our light to others, etc., like I said before. So please don't forget that. Think about all the bloodlines that have come your way and all your different life experiences that have all formed for you to be who you are right at this exact moment in time, so that we are participating in this grand illusionary story that is real in some levels and other reals not, in other uh, universes not, so that we can again experience as much as we can. And with that, think about that. Think about that for this next week, and use the smoky quartz. Think about being your warrior, courageous self. And with that, I am grateful to all of you for being here with me. I'm really seriously grateful. I'm glad you jumped over from TikTok, because again, this is a whole new platform. So it's still good for me to get out, even though we have a small group, a small tribe. We are all lighting the dark, one of us at a time, to make a difference. So thank you, Richard. Thanks for being here all the way from New Zealand, and Chrissy and Tracy and whoever else is in the chat tonight. I appreciate all of you here. And with that, have a fabulous week. Oh, and really tap into your dreams as much as you can. Use the smoky quartz. Again, you can use it from an intentional basis. Again, protect. Am I back? That's so weird. My internet must have gone down. Happy to be here. Thanks, Tracy. Love you guys. And that was weird. It just went sideways. You were all wonderful. Yes, exactly. It is a very safe place, Chrissy. Thank you. Big hugs to all of you. Big hugs. Cosmic sunshine always.